Lesson 37. Today we start with the discussion of the contents of lesson 40. We received a file titled Sambhavi Mudra. I pulled it back to lesson 37 because it's important and we can repeat it a couple of times before the end of the course. Sambhavi Mudra Mudra is an exercise, energy control exercise, that is more efficient, more powerful than pranayama. There is a very systematic approach in yoga. You see chapter 1 lays the foundation, addressing dietary habits, creating the right space to thrive in your practice. Then you have asana and yama niyama. Chapter 2 builds on that with pranayama, energy control. Chapter 3 is about mudra. Now, mudra, have you ever heard of mudra? And have you also understood a little bit what it means? There's a lot of dogma and mystery surrounding not only mudra but yoga in general. And just like with pranayama not being a breathing exercise, mudra is not finger movements as most people believe. There are many people and many teachers who believe that mudra are finger movements. One of the famous mudras is this one. If you go to any New Age shop or Buddhist shop, you will see little statues that you can buy with this mudra. Now, what does it mean? The hand in front of the heart is a vow. It means that you vow something. The index finger is ego. The thumb is the biggest and strongest limb or finger on your hand. So it represents solidity. Ego and solidity plus a vow. You vow to control ego. Now, if you believe those people that think that mudra is finger movements, this should be enough to control your ego. Is that possible? If you sit like this for an hour, are you going to control your ego? Of course, that's not possible. If you look at it from the perspective of the time in which these techniques were developed, the people at that time were not educated. So the way of thinking of people was very different. People thought much more in symbolical ways, as opposed to the modern human being very rational. This is pure symbolism. And sitting like this for an hour is not going to accomplish control of ego. At most you will get a cramp in your fingers and your hand. Considering that mudra is more powerful than pranayama, you should also be skeptical and ask yourself, then how is this going to be powerful? It's the same with Sambhavi Mudra. Sambhavi Mudra I introduced last week as being a very extensive mudra because it requires several steps, 5 steps to be precise. It is a Kundalini exercise that is based on mind control and direct stimulation of energy rising up from the bottom by stimulating each of the chakras. From the bottom, working your way up. And that is what makes it powerful. But how is Sambhavi Mudra presented by most teachers? Like this. You cover your eyes with your index fingers, your ears with your thumbs, your nostrils with your middle fingers, your upper lip with your ring fingers, and your lower lip, the crease in your lobe between the lip and the chin, with the pinky. And it is promised that if you do that, you will reach enlightenment. Now, I have tried, and you push very hard on your eyeballs, you're going to see stars and light and what have you. But that is not enlightenment. Like this gesture, I forgot to add this to this story about controlling ego. The hand movement is not going to help you control ego. First, you need to understand what ego is. You have to feel it, not just intellectually understand it, but you have to realize, truly realize how it affects you, how it makes you act and react in situations, how it is controlling the human being in many ways. And then, by being humble and alert, so that you acutely notice when ego is kicking in and taking over, that you step in and control that instinctive tendency. That is how we can learn to control ego. The finger movement is a reminder for illiterate people of a concept. Because the mudra is a concept that you have to feel in your heart. It's not even a mental thing. It has to be in your heart. Otherwise it doesn't work. It needs intensity. It needs a true intent behind it. Now, with Sambhavi Mudra, it's the same story. It's symbolism. And because you have learned about the chakras in detail, and you learned with the chakras that they have an element, earth, water, fire, air, and ether, you have learned that each of the chakras is responsible for a certain function, an emotion. We have fear, we have creativity, we have ambition, ego and ambition, then we have compassion and empathy, and we have creative expression. And we have learned that they are responsible for functions. Each of our senses, gross senses, is related to one of the chakras. Muladhara chakra is smell. Svadhisthana chakra is taste. Manipura chakra is eyesight. Anahata chakra is touch. And Svadhisthana, what's it called again? Vishuddhi. Vishuddhi chakra, the throat chakra, is hearing. Eyesight, Manipura chakra. The thumbs on the ears, throat chakra. The index fingers on the nose, Manipura. The ring fingers on the upper lip, heart chakra. And the pinkies on the crease between the underlip and the chin represents Svadhisthana chakra. That is the meaning of the fingers. It's symbolism. It's just a reminder of how it works. It doesn't work by doing that symbolical thing. We are intellectual people. We are not illiterate like the people from 3,000 years ago. We don't need the symbolism. It may look interesting. People are impressed by it, deceived by it even, but it's not that simple. To truly make this work, We have to go to work. And Sambhavi Mudra, when done properly, in the way as we have learned it from, I don't know if you're both a member of the Magic Pond Teachers in Training support group, right? The Facebook group. If you scroll down a little bit, not so far, last year or the year before, I put a post there about Swami Yoganand from Kathmandu. Swami Yoganand from Kathmandu ended up, he traveled around the world. He has spent time in Amsterdam and shared the secret of Sambhavi Mudra with us. He ended up living in Argelès-sur-Mer the last 15 years of his life, I think. And I found out through internet search that he actually died a couple of years ago. And just right before he died, he probably knew that he was going to die. He had an interview in French. So you can find that in that post. Maybe there are two posts about this Swami. But this is what he taught us, and it makes total sense. To let energy rise, we focus on the chakras. And when we do that with the emotion that stimulates them, it makes energy expand, and energy that expands rises up. Energy that contracts descends, goes down. The tragedy of life is that energy has a natural universal tendency to contract and therefore descend, which is the reason, which explains why many people live their lives based on lower emotions and desires. We're trying to reverse that. And this is how it works. I will write it from the top down, because that is the order in which you work, but it actually stimulates the chakras from the bottom up. So you have Muladhara at the bottom. You stimulate Muladhara chakra with a sense of pride. Sense of pride, bordering on arrogance. Many people in spiritual circles, they have difficulty with pride because they want to be equal with everybody. They don't want to be arrogant. But this is a very powerful tool. And of course you have to be careful not to end up becoming arrogant as a result of this. But pride, everybody has something to be proud of. Think of something that you achieved in life, like winning a competition, or gaining a degree or a diploma in something that you pursued that cost you a lot of effort, and you nailed it, you finished it with good result. Something that you did for somebody else, you helped somebody in something very crucial and that really made a difference in that person's life, that is worth of pride. So it is a meditation exercise that comes after the pranayama, so then you have already gone through the pranayama, which is a concentration after asana, pranayama, and you then focus intensely on a sense of pride. You don't think of pride, you feel it. You have to feel it. This is very interesting. Feeling, we live in a world where feeling is underappreciated, because we live in a rational world. We live in a scientific world, and people who are sensitive, people who feel, are considered to be emotionally unstable. But feeling is much, much stronger than thought. This is based on feeling. Pranayama is based on thought. This is based on feeling. So you really have to feel this pride. The second step, And forget about the fingers, that is symbolism. We really don't have to think about the fingers. The second step is Svadhisthana. And to stimulate Svadhisthana, we use a sense of beauty, artistic tendency, or artistry. Something that touches you. I, for this reason, have always used a dahlia. Dahlia is a flower. It's a little bit like a lotus flower, but it has many petals in many layers, which are very velvety. And the one that really touched me is the one that is the color of these cushions. In Dutch we call this Bordeaux red. In English you call it, I don't know, wine red or something like that. That is the reason why these cushions are this color. There's no coincidence in yoga, and a yogi never does anything without reason or purpose. It's the reason why I chose this color. I had those dahlias on my balcony in Amsterdam. And you have to water them regularly, especially when the sun shines. They need water almost every day, and every time I would just be absorbed by their beauty. So I started using this image for this purpose. I even have it as my screen. My screen on my phone is a red, Bordeaux red dahlia. You're both from France. I'm from Amsterdam. When you go to a shopping center, there is a butcher, there is a bakery, there is a clothes store, there is a store where you can buy all kinds of household goods, like what you need in the kitchen and this and that. But every corner there is a flower stall. While every shop there is only one, there are like 3-4 flower stalls in every shopping center. And flowers are relatively cheap compared to Korea. So Dutch people, almost everybody has a bunch of flowers at home, either on the table or on the chimney or somewhere. And when they're not good anymore, next time when you go shopping, you pass by the flower stall and you buy a new bunch of flowers. Or you get a bunch of flowers as a gift, because always when we visit people, on our way there, we pass by the flower shop and we buy a bunch of flowers. Maybe in addition to a bottle of wine or a box of chocolates. And you know what we do also when we have a conflict with a person? You want to make it up. You want to clear the air. You pass by the flower stall before you visit. Then you put those flowers behind your back. You ring the bell or you knock the door opens, and first there is a dark face, and then you say, ta-da! And the flowers, the beauty of the flowers just melts people's heart. And you say, listen, I'm so sorry for what happened. Can we talk about it maybe? Could you make me a cup of tea or coffee, and can we just sit down and talk about it? And you hand over the flowers, and almost always you're being allowed to come in and just talk about the issue at hand. That's how it works. The reason why governments of countries that become wealthy start to invest in art. Not just art, but art to be publicly available. That's why we have museums that are often subsidized and are either free or very cheap to access. Because it civilizes people. It touches people. This is what this is based on. This is how this works with Svadhisthana chakra. The next one is the easiest. If you do not feel anything, especially in the beginning when you start doing this, you might not really feel much energy being generated. Even if that is so, be confident that what you're doing is actually really working. With Manipura, it's easy. You know why? Because it's related to ego. Ego. Manipura, what I always do is I imagine walking in the street and somebody opening the window and shouting, "Hey, run! Run!" You know what happens when that suddenly happens out of the blue? Poof! Your spine straightens and your eyes become wide. You say, "Huh, who is calling me? Hey, how are you?" It gives you a kick in the butt, so to speak. This is also the difficulty with people controlling their phone while they are driving. It does exactly the same. When the phone makes a sound, whether it is a call or a message, the notification stimulates Manipura chakra and people cannot control their urge. It's ego. That is how this works. For me, it works imagining walking in the street. But if you're a teacher or you have children yourself, when they misbehave, the best way to stop it is to call their name loudly. And immediately they are like, "Oh, what's happening? You're calling me?" I'm just exaggerating a little bit, but it's easy. And also easy to feel energy being generated there because you're really like, Anahata chakra. Anahata is the heart chakra. The heart. Faithfulness or loyalty. I forgot something about Manipura chakra. Which fingers represent Manipura chakra? No. I'm too late. Muladhara chakra, pride. Which finger was that? It's a universal gesture. The gesture of arrogance. Middle finger. You close your nose with your middle finger. Smell. Muladhara. And you're right. When you talk about yourself, you use this finger to point at your chest. I did, I that. Right. The ring finger is the finger where you put a golden or at least precious metal ring when you make a vow of marriage, usually. Why not wood or steel? Why gold? Or another precious metal? Because precious metal is precious for a reason. It's inherently sattvic. Although it is subtle, it causes sattva in a person when wearing gold, whether that is earrings or necklaces. But for the purpose of making a vow of loyalty, faithfulness to our partner, we put a ring on this finger. Allegedly, because it's not on the right hand. That's not correct. Some people do that rebelliously, but always on the left finger, or that is the proper way. It's connected with the heart. So the gold, being sattvic, naturally invokes loyalty in the heart. Loyalty to, for me, I've been on this path for 40 years. For me, it doesn't work to invoke loyalty to a partner. Relationships are always complicated. And although you may love each other very much, there are always things that can distract when you use this in your meditation. It can work though. If you have an almost near perfect relationship, absolutely you can use the image of a person. You can use the image of a parent if you have good parents. Because parents, especially moms, they tend to sacrifice themselves for their children. That can be complicated too. What I do, I feel loyalty towards the path that I chose in life. It has presented me many obstacles that I would not have come across had I just chosen a normal life. But it has given me many wonderful developments and rewards that otherwise would not have happened either if I had chosen a normal life. So in spite of actually I started to see the challenges and the obstacles that I find on my path as a positive thing, because they always not only teach me wise lessons in life and about myself, but they also prepare me for a possible next stage in my development, in my evolution. I feel loyalty towards that. I feel loyalty towards the way that I teach yoga, that I don't give in to the tendency to present commercial yoga just because it's easy and it makes money. Loyalty to the dogs that I rescued, that absolutely works. I would never abandon them. People easily abandon their dogs when they go on a vacation. The shelters in the summer are full because people just dump their pets, dogs, cats, and what have you. I would never do that. And if war would break out and I have to flee, I wouldn't go without my dogs. But you look at the images in Ukraine. I mean, I understand. It's hard enough as it is, difficult enough as it is. And people have no choice. They leave their pets behind. I wouldn't be able to go without them. I'm just so dedicated to their stability and their happiness. And I rescued them from their terrible fate. I would never be able to be responsible for them ending up back into a situation where they are unhappy. But everybody does things in their own way, but loyalty towards them, that would work as well. So I'm pretty sure you can find some example that you can use here. The last one is Vishuddhi. The throat. Vishuddhi is hearing, which you close with your thumbs, the strongest and biggest finger on your hand. And I explained already with the vow of controlling ego that actually it represents solidity. But solidity is control, determination. That is what the strength of the thumb represents. We call it solidity, but for many people that's a little bit a vague concept. Determination. If you believe in something, regardless of what other people tell you, stick to it until proven otherwise. Regardless of what other people say, if you believe in something, pursue that, stick to that. Work it out. That is how we grow and evolve in life. And along the way, it may, the conviction that you feel, it may evolve over time, because inside, as a result of you engaging in the issue, whatever it is that you pursue, for me it's yoga, it's Hapkido, I was very, very obsessed by Hapkido. I have no interest in it at all anymore. The karma has burned up. But at that time, I stuck to it. And I stuck to it for as long as I felt that fire burning in me. And it's the same with yoga. But with yoga, I hung around because that is still motivating me and inspiring me. Hapkido that was just a way to canalize my energy that at that time was running rampant. And it did its work, and it's done. It brought me to Korea. I'm still here after 26 years, but I have once in a while, once every couple of years, I meet my Hapkido teacher, but it's done and over and out. But yoga, I feel this determination. Yoga is valuable if it's done correctly, and there are too few teachers who do it correctly. So I have a very clear determination to keep spreading it, because I know how many people I've helped throughout the years to change and improve their lives through it. So solidity, determination, strongly believing and sticking to whatever it is that you believe in until proven otherwise. That's Sambhavi Mudra. When you're done with this, it will take you about 10 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes. You can really take your time for this. But the thing is, you have 5 concepts here, and you have limited time, 40 minutes. First you have a pranayama, then you have the mudra. So you need some time to meditate, because this brings all your energy up, and your meditation will be even more focused compared to after the pranayama. So you have an issue here with the fact that you may not actually feel an effect of what you're doing. So you have to have faith that what you're doing is working. So you keep yourself busy with a concept, starting with pride, and you sincerely try to immerse yourself in that feeling of pride. You work with emotions here. Now, if you don't feel anything, that's fine. Have the faith that the fact that you have put your intention behind it will have an effect. Even when it's subtle, it works. So you have to, at some point, decide to go to the next step. Stop waiting for effect, because it may not come, not today. It's the first time, it's all new, and you'll probably be mentally a little bit more busy than is good for this exercise, but the first time that you do something, it always happens like that. Like when you drive a car. Do you have a license? Have you driven a car? So the first time that you drive, do you remember the very first time that you drove a car? Is mental. And so it's very nervous and overwhelming, and you have these pedals on the floor, and then you have the steering wheel and the mirrors and the stick shift, and well, then it starts raining. Oh, where's the window wiper? And now it gets dark, and the light, where's the light switch? In the beginning, it's, oh my God, you're all over the place. And at the same time, you have to look at the road in front of you. But if you continue to drive, you don't even notice anymore what your hands and feet are doing. Why? Because you stop thinking, and it becomes intuitive. This is this exercise. It works exactly like that. The beginning, it's a little bit overwhelming. There's so many things to do, a little bit technical, but it becomes a feeling. Just like driving becomes a feeling. And then things start to go smooth. So let's say maximum 3 minutes per concept. 2 to 3 minutes. Then you have to move on to the next. And then you have about 10 minutes at the end, after pranayama and Sambhavi Mudra. You have 10 to 15 minutes to use that energy to enhance the meditation, to strengthen and deepen the meditation. Concentration on nada. So we will do this after the pranayama, which we have to discuss now. So I will turn off the camera and start it again. You want to have a short break?